become such a sort of pop culture mythological character, how does she compare to playing Snow White?
Oh boy.
Shooting two movies at the same time, completely out of sequence, with no regard to. It wasn't something that initially we were concerned about keeping sequences intact scheduling wise. It's not like we went, okay, we'll work on this part and we'll work on this part. It really was everywhere within each day, like Bill said. I think what that gave me is that she's always either like looking into the future and thinking about what she's going to achieve, and ultimately in this movie she does get everything she wants, or she's sort of feeling bad about things like Jacob, for instance, her family. She's very much in her own head. Basically what I'm saying is being able to play a vampire, a human, a woman who's pregnant, a woman who's about to get married, like literally sometimes within the same day, or sometimes the same week, who knows, actually helped remind me more, everything felt more important and more relevant to me. It was sort of like, everything felt very close. And so, I think if we did it more systematically, just wouldn't have been the same. It's just, everything was happening all at once. And it was like so, it was so sort of overwhelming that it was good. It gives you that energy every day. So.
And the iconic role of what Bella's become versus another, this fairy tale myth of Snow White.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only actual comparison that I guess a million could be drawn, but the one thing that sticks out in my mind is that they really both are, in different ways, matriarchs, very strong matriarchs that need to find that position, and you see the whole process. But it's so different. And them both being icons. It's funny, Snow White was really never... I didn't grow up on fairy tales. I mean, I know everyone says, the reason this thing is so cool is because we've all grown up with this story, and that's a retelling. It's like, no, not really. I didn't. And I also didn't grow up with the Twilight thing. So for me, these things are being like, sort of put on these characters right as I think, wow, this is important. Everyone goes, that's important. And it's like, okay, cool. And so I've gotten really lucky on that level. I didn't know going into either of these things necessarily. I mean, I know Snow White, obviously more so than Twilight was expected to be, more important to people, or because they know it. But
right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, thank you.
Hi, Kristen. Hi. You've had a lot of success away from the Twilight franchise as well. I was wondering, how have you avoided being typecast, and is there a specific type of project that you're attracted to outside of the franchise?
I've done pretty. The movies that I've done in between the Twilight films, I've just been really lucky. They've been very different. Not because I meant them to be, literally because the things that I was drawn to happened to be different from the Twilight thing. And I don't, it's really hard for me to answer questions like that. Like right now, it's the first time in a long time that I haven't worked or haven't known what I was going to be doing. And I don't want to know, I don't want to rush it because I want to have time off and like figure out what I'm interested in, like what my interests are. And, not to say that I'm just going all the time. I don't even know myself, not at all. It's just that I do want a little bit of time to really figure out what I really, really, really want to do.
Are you drawn to lower profile projects so you can maybe escape the hysteria?
What'd you say?
Are you drawn to lower profile projects perhaps so you can escape the hysteria that's followed you throughout the Twilight films? Maybe?
No, not necessarily. It really has nothing to do with the profile. Like literally zilch. Genuinely.
Kristen?
Yeah.
Quick question. You lost a considerable amount of weight, it appeared, between the honeymoon and then while you were growing. Was that a...
Digital. Totally.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't have time. We shot everything so... Everything was sporadically shot. We didn't have any... I would have had... to do that, we would have had to shut down production for a couple months while I lost the weight or gained it back, whichever we did first. And
I thought they kept you away, hid you somewhere down
Right.
in Louisiana.
Right.
I was
That's
like, wow,
so
they go to
awesome.
extremes.
That really is so cool that you're saying
It
that,
looks,
though.
I'm being honest, it looks very genuine, like,
That's great. I mean,
Yeah.
because you do fear. I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't. That was
let's
such a
put those rumors to bed right now.
Yeah. But it does make you feel a little bit like, well, I hope you guys do a good job. You know what I mean? It's sort of like this, because I can't do that part. You know what I mean? And it can ruin you, obviously, if you look ridiculous.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't. So those guys are amazing at what they do. Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks.
Hey, Kristen, 2 questions for you over here. First, what was going through your mind in the wedding scene as you're walking down the aisle? Because you can see all these emotions in your face. So what were you really thinking?
I was thinking, one thing that, I mean, I had a million different things going through my head, and kind of what I kept telling myself was like, stop. Like, just do it. Actually have this experience, because you're just about to ruin it. You keep going. I think that I was so in the right place to do it that I needed to just put the dress on and go and stand there and walk and see him and everyone, and like it wasn't. I know the story so well. It's like the same. The most common question for actors is like, how do you remember all your lines? It's like, it's literally, it's the last thing I think about. If you know a story so well, they just come out. You know it. If someone asks you, provokes you in the right way, that's like what it is. So I just kind of kept telling myself, just find yourself in this moment and appreciate it, or else you're going to look back and go, God, why didn't I just take that ride? Like, just do it, and it would have been better in the movie anyway. And yeah, tried the best I could.
And you, Taylor, and Rob have been through this whole experience together since the very beginning. What do those 2 men bring to the whole experience instead that no one else could?
I couldn't have done this. I guess always if you insert, different numbers into the equation, you're going to get a different answer. But God, I can't imagine what this movie would have been if I didn't have really, really, really solid, and always like growing relationships with them, and ones that like, I mean, everyone, also the most common question, so are you guys a big family, you love each other, you always talk to each other? It's like, yeah, but it's more like the idea that when I don't see Taylor for a while, suddenly I go, ah, and you like take your phone out, and it's not like I see him all the time or every day. It's just that when you work with people like that, you can give so much. You're so comfortable, like you can do no wrong, and so they've got you. And I don't really know specifically what those men necessarily. I think we got along, and so it shows.
Kristen, I've had the opportunity to hear from your fans on Twitter. I asked them for questions for you, and the one thing I heard over and over again was, please tell her how much she inspires us to really be ourselves. And so I'm curious, they want to make sure you know that. And have you had a chance to really process the impact you've had on so many women and girls?
I love that. Like, that's, it's really hard to, it's hard to, I hate when people say, what advice do you want to give your fans? Or like, but just to share, oh God, I don't even know how to explain this. It's people, I'm sure, people that I look up to, it's like you find people in life that are like your common, you're like, yeah, I'm like you. It's, everyone chooses differently. It's not like it's just weird because this question always does sort of present like, so why are you better? It's like, I'm literally the same, which is why it's so cool. And I thank them too. I mean, that's like why it's the same reason they like me. I'm sure I'd like them. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, common ground. And so because I'm like placed on this pedestal, it looks like, wow, it's so incredible that you can be that way. It's like, well, not really, because this is so weird. Trust me. Like, come on up, you'll see. Like, there's really no difference. It's, yeah.
Kristen, you
It
talked.
is hot in here. Okay, cool. That's good.
You talked about the wedding scene, and we all saw it, and it was beautiful. But what did you think about the much ado everybody made when Rob told fans that because you used a real priest, you might be accidentally married?
Honestly, that's the first I've heard of that. He couldn't even remember the
Vows.
vows. Yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of